Welcome to the town hall. And I think this is one of the most important town halls that we are doing. As Cast 24, if we have to build a generational company, if we have to build a legendary company, then as an organization, our people, we have to build a world-class team. And that will happen when we are building a team that respects each other, that is well diversified. We have people from all walks of life. We are well represented on gender. We are well represented on people with different backgrounds, different kind of experiences. To create that kind of an environment where the best people want to come and work for us, we have to start working on, we have to take workplace very, very seriously, right? And one of the most important things we want to talk about today is prevention of sexual harassment. It's an extremely important topic. I went through a session this morning with Major Bakshi and I came out supremely excited from that session. I learned few things myself that I, going into the session, thought I knew everything about PoSH, but I was wrong. There were things that I didn't know. And I learned some new things on how I can do more, how I can do better to create an inclusive workplace. So I will stop there and I will invite Major Bakshi to come and take us through on PoSH. And this is a very important town hall because this will all make us better human beings. So look forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vikram, for setting the context. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me loud and clear till the last? Yes? The last line, please raise your hand if you can hear me clearly. Good. So let me start with a not so small introduction because once you start aging, you realize you have many years of experience to talk about. So I'll briefly give an introduction about myself. I'm Major Sonam Bakshi. I must have met a lot of you in the sessions earlier and maybe some of you are new. I started my career with the Indian Army in the year 1999 by joining Officers Training Academy, Chennai. And I served the nation for about 8 years. Post that, I went to IIM Indore and I started my corporate journey with ICICI Bank as the HR manager. And past couple of years, I went to Wipro and I was heading the HR function for India and Middle East countries. After that, I was with erstwhile GE Capital, which is now known as Clicks Capital, as CHRO. And after that, I was with Affle, which is a mobile marketing company based out of Singapore, as a global CHRO. Last 5 years, I have started my own little sole proprietorship in the space, which is very close to my heart. The session that we are taking today, PoSH, I've been connected to this act since the time the act came into force. And diversity, equity, inclusion trainer. I am in services for PoSH. I am an HR advisor for startups. And besides doing the work, my soldier in me has not gone. So I've submitted Kilimanjaro and I am a rescue level scuba diver, PADI certified. And I tell everybody all this because I want to convince someone to understand that you'll only take experiences in life and nothing else. So pick up something in life. Because it's worth it. Life is short and it's worth it. And skydiving is on my bucket list because I've gone to the mountains, I've gone underwater, sky is left, and in 2025 my bucket list is going and doing a skydiving course. So that's about me. Welcome to the session today. It's a very important session. How many of you have gone through an awareness session in last 6 months? And in last 1 year? So there is a lot of awareness sessions that we will conduct now because we've been conducting every month. So maybe you've not been able to attend it, but we'll be conducting more sessions. So I'm very happy about it that today's audience is very fresh. So today you will get to hear, having an online session and having an in-person session does make a difference. Some things that we need to remember during the session, please ask questions. Any kind of doubt, give answers to everybody else. And please be with me. I'll be asking some questions, just generic questions. And okay. Have you heard about these names? Anybody who recognizes, okay, the name is already come in. Tarun Tejpal, editor-in-chief of Tehelka. During the Me Too movement, his name came in, and this is not to scare anyone. It is that we all really work hard to do the best in life. It's tough to get there. But one such case happens, here you go, absolutely down. So Tarun Tejpal during Me Too movement was, there was a sexual harassment case against him, which was proven to be right. He went to High Court, still it did not come out fair, and not seen, not heard. His name is Fanish Murthy. Fanish Murthy is a IIT Delhi IIM Ahmedabad graduate and was the Chief Revenue Officer for Infosys. The growth of Bangalore as a city, one of the catalysts was Fanish Murthy. During Infosys tenure, there was a complaint that came against him and he was asked to leave. There was no PoSH Act at that point in time. Again, he was hired as a CEO of another company by name of iGate. Another case came. After that, not seen, not heard. AIB, you all have heard about them. During Me Too movement only, there was a case that came against Utsav Chakravarti, proved to be right, ban dissolved. Vikas Behel, Queen director, again a case came against him for a long period of time, not seen, not heard. Travis Kalanick is the co-founder and CEO of Uber. Now nothing he did, but under his leadership as a CEO and co-founder, there were a lot of cases that were happening, sexual harassment cases that were happening. People were coming and giving a complaint, but there was no action that was taken. And there came a time when one of the ladies started writing a blog, what is happening at Uber, and everybody who was impacted started adding on to it. And then the board of directors realized that under his leadership, no action was taken, down. Medanta, I don't want to even ask that have you heard of this name? Because we are right there. In Indore branch, there was a very senior person against whom the complaint was done. No action taken. But the lady went to the High Court of Madhya Pradesh. Medanta was fined very huge amount of money, but it was not only the money part of it. People stopped coming to the hospital because there were a lot of media coverage on it, that if employees are not taken care of, how will the patients be taken care of? So, anybody has any idea about the history of why did this law come in? I'll quickly brief you because then we'll go to the next steps. We have a shorter period of time today. Bhavri Devi was a state government employee in the rural Rajasthan in early 1990s. She used to stop child marriages, right? And in her work, what she did was she was trying to stop an infant marriage of a 1-year-old for a person by name of Ram Kumar Gujjar, who was quite strongly politically influential in that village. She tried to stop this marriage, but all went in vain. He got the daughter married, but he was very angry. There was a lot of ego hurt. They terminated the services of her husband. Both the children were taken out from the school, and there are not very many schools in rural Rajasthan, but still she kept convincing. Now, out of that anger, he, along with his 5 friends, raped Bhavri Devi in front of her husband. The lady went to the police, doctor, nothing really came out. Then there was Vishaka, which is an NGO which works on women equality. And they pitched in there and stood up for Bhavri Devi. And after that, the entire coverage of how can we stop these things happening, like a guideline was formed by raising a PIL, which is what Vishaka did. All the 5 people were punished for what they did, the act that they did. And after that, the policy was formed. Medha Kotwa Lele came in, Supreme Court had given the guidelines, and then we got the act into enforcement in 2013. So it started in 1993. 2013 is where 20 years it took for this act to come into place. Not very important, but the act came into force from 9 December 2013. Sexual harassment. What is sexual harassment? Anyone would like to take that? What is unwelcome, unwanted behavior? What is an unwanted behavior? Which makes somebody uncomfortable, right? So any behavior which is uncomfortable for anyone, unwanted in nature and sexual in nature is called sexual harassment. There are 2 kinds of harassment. There could be two team members, manager, reportee, having a conversation which we are not comfortable with, which is unwanted, but it is not sexual in nature. That is called harassment. That comes in the bucket of going to your HR team in case you want to, a redressal around it. But anything that is sexual in nature and unwanted is sexual harassment. Do you understand the difference between harassment and sexual harassment? Do you know where do you need to go for harassment and where do you need to go for sexual harassment? For sexual harassment, you need to go to the internal complaints committee. But for harassment or a behavioral issue between team members and manager, you need to report it to human resources team. Are we clear on this? Lot of times some cases come to us which we realize there is no sexual connotation here. So that takes a lot of time around. So you should know as an employee for what you need to go where. So as an organization, we have a policy on sexual harassment and procedure and operation. So far whatever I have told you, who do you think can file a complaint? Who can file a complaint of sexual harassment in Cars 24? Any employee, right? Very good. Now I'll tell you the difference. A progressive organization like ours is gender neutral, but today also the act covers women. So how does it differ? So we take the case in case there is an investigation that needs to happen. It doesn't matter whether it is a gentleman, it's a lady. We will do the same procedure and operations. But tomorrow if the labor law comes and asks us, they will ask how many women have raised the complaint of sexual harassment. That's the only difference. So all women employees, I'm only talking about Act today so that you all are aware of what Act says. However, I'm also reiterating at Cars 24, we are gender neutral. Anybody who's come for internship 1 month, 1 day, 1 week, consultants, all women visitors coming in the premises of Cars 24, all vendors, and all the clients that you meet can raise a complaint. Clear? Is sexual harassment a criminal offense? Yes? Sexual harassment is a criminal offense if an FIR is lodged. Right? In case there is a case wherein we see the complainant has come with any kind of physical assault or attempt to rape, we help the employee to go and lodge the FIR, and then it becomes, in case it is proved to be right, it becomes a criminal offense. Mind you, anybody who comes under this kind of an umbrella of FIR, if you join the next organization, there is a background verification that happens where they ask, do you have any criminal records? You might write no, but in the background verification it will come out to be yes. So it is not worth creating any kind of doubts in a place where it can really lead to this kind of an outcome. So section 354 alpha of the Indian Penal Code, sexual harassment of women is an offense, and a lady can file a complaint with the police authorities. Even after filing a complaint with the ICC, we cannot stop it. What is the meaning of an employee? You all are employees of the organization. What do you mean by that? What is the definition of an employee? Karamchari, employee. Day-to-day language. I work for Cars 24. What do you mean by that? Anyone, team? Somebody has to answer. Directly or indirectly working with us. And why are you working with Cars 24? What are you getting in return? Pay. Okay. So typically an employee is, you all are coming with certain amount of knowledge, skills, right? The organization needs that knowledge, skills, expertise to deliver services, and in return, what does the organization give you? Remuneration, compensation, what we call it. Please understand the definition of an employee in this act is expanded, right? It is not as per the understanding. Any person employed at a workplace on a regular, temporary, ad hoc or daily wage basis, and there is no need to draw remuneration to come under the definition of the employee under the act. Can anyone give me an example? A visitor, absolutely. Vendors, consultants. But vendors and consultants, we are still paying them something. I'll give you an example. There's a cafe coffee day here downstairs, right? I mean, I'm assuming there is one. There must be some coffee shop. You go there and there is something that happens, and there is this lady or gentleman who gives a complaint that Cars 24 employee has sexually harassed me. That person will be considered as an employee because somebody from our organization, because she was at the work premises, happened. Now, I'm not paying anything to that person, but still that person will come under the definition of employee. Likewise, somebody is working inside this building. There is an interior designer who's working and she feels sexually harassed. We are not paying, the building owner is paying, but that will also be considered. Same way, even the labor, daily wage, that is where it comes from. Are we clear? So employee definition of our understanding, this is a much bigger definition. There are a lot of times when I've done investigation and people said, why are you even taking this forward? This person is not even the employee of the organization. So it's very important for us to understand not only our own team members, anybody whom we are interacting in professional capacity and representing Cars 24 as an employee will come under this act. Are we clear? Any questions, anyone? Okay. What is a workplace? हम काम के लिए जाते हैं, we go to workplace, we are going to office. What do you mean by office? What is this place? Office. What happens in office? What kind of work happens? Anywhere where commercial activities takes place, right? Those premises are called workplace. That's your understanding? Is there any other understanding of workplace, anyone? So here also, the way we had an expanded definition of employee, we have an expanded definition of the workplace. Now this is equally important as much as the employee part of it was important. All the places visited during the employment arising because of the work, including transportation provided by the employer. I'll give you also another example. If you're traveling from here to Mumbai, from the time you board the cab, your airport, your flight, your stay in Mumbai, you're coming back till that time, everything will be covered as a workplace. So it doesn't mean that if you're leaving Delhi, you can just do whatever you want to behave in any other way. You will always be representing the organization. No matter where you go, wherever you're going in professional capacity, you're representing the organization and same behavior is expected irrespective of the location. Physical spaces, very important because I am telling you from my experience about this act, most of the cases happens during off-site, business trips, pubs, malls, etc. Party ke liye gaye the, we had extra drinks. I just said, I don't even remember what I said. It doesn't matter. If you cannot control how much of alcohol content can keep you in your sane state or insane state, that is up to you. Nobody else is responsible for that. Right? So, if you go for your business trips or off-sites, that will be considered as workplace. Letting your hair down doesn't mean getting drunk and behaving in the way that you would like to and making somebody uncomfortable and sexually harassing someone. That's just not in, and drinking alcohol is not an excuse the organization will ever take. Same way, coffee shop, you're meeting a candidate for an interview in a coffee shop or you are going with your colleague in a coffee shop just for a catch-up. Will be considered as a workplace because you are meeting in professional capacity. Likewise, somebody's got a promotion or somebody's got married, they're taking the whole team for a treat. That pub will also be a workplace because everybody from that team is going in professional capacity. And virtual spaces, we all know of them, Slack, Zoom, Trello, Google Drive, WhatsApp, the kind of messages that you send on WhatsApp groups. Please be mindful that there are no messages that can make anybody feel uncomfortable. If you, irrespective of all men or all women in the group also, please, in the professional capacity, it could be possible that it's an all women's group, still somebody feels uncomfortable because there is sexual content in it. So there are two forms of sexual harassment. First is quid pro quo. Quid pro quo means this for that. You give me this, I will give you that. Who can do it? Who can give that option? If you give me this, I will give you that. Somebody who, absolutely. And somebody who has the power. So anybody who is in power and he or she says that I can positively or negatively impact your employment with the organization if you do not do XYZ. That XYZ could be spending a weekend with me. People might not directly say what will they do on the weekend, but it's an implied thing, what are they expecting. It's called quid pro quo. With great power comes great responsibility. I love that dialogue from Spider-Man. And it is very unfortunate that 72% of cases are quid pro quo. The moment people become team leads, people become managers, they think people under me might just go with the flow, let me try my luck. Please understand, you are a manager because the organization thinks that you are capable of handling a team. So organization is giving you that responsibility. So take that responsibility with pride, not trying your luck the way it does. It's very unfortunate, 72% cases. And it's not come down for years. It was earlier a little higher, it has come down a little bit, but it's been 72% for a while now. The second form of sexual harassment is hostile work environment. Very important. You might not directly be saying something to someone, but you're sitting and gossiping about somebody. You all are in the offsite and sitting on a table and having a meal. 2-3 of you are talking to each other. There is sexual content in that conversation. There is abusive language in that conversation, which is sexual in nature. Even if I am not being targeted directly, I might feel uncomfortable, and that's called hostile work environment. Lot of people say, "Inko to maine kuch bola hi nahi tha. Why is she complaining? She is uncomfortable. That's why she is." And there is it's sexual in nature. That is why somebody is. So have you understood 2 forms of sexual harassment? Quid pro quo. This for that. This typically happens when somebody has authority and power, and hostile work environment. So what are we doing by this? Quid pro quo se what are we doing? What are we doing to the authority that is given to us? We are given some authority, right? What are we doing to that authority? Are we abusing that authority? So this is what happens. There is different forms of abuse of authority which is given to leaders and managers, which is pressurizing for sexual favors, creating a hostile work environment. If somebody is not giving any reaction, then you start creating an environment that you sit down in the office till late, finish that work because you're not getting what you want from that person. So the work environment, what is it doing? It's creating a hostile work environment. You're not directly saying anything, but this is what is happening. Retaliation for rejection of sexual advances. Somebody tries their luck, the other person does not react. Now what you do as a manager, you start irritating that person to the extent saying things which are meaningless, making that person feel good for nothing, just not looking at what that person is doing at workplace, but taking that inner grudge against that person that she did not return back the favor that I was asking for. Manipulation of career opportunities. When you have promotions, you might not really consider her because you consider her or him. It is still, I'm sorry, it still comes as her because it has, so far there have been cases in Cars 24 at this point in time only from the women perspective. Manipulation of career opportunity, favoritism or discriminatory practices. Advantage or disadvantage. In case you want to, you have to let go of some team members, you will put those team members. So what you're doing, you're discriminating on the basis of asking for some favor which you did not get, and now you're behaving in that way. And unjust discipline or punishment. What are the things that we can do? Clear policies on sexual harassment. That's one of the most important things. Everybody has to understand them. Through awareness session, you get to know them. We have the policy available in case you would like to read it. We have training and awareness sessions as preventive measures. Any one of you feel like that there is an authority abuse that is happening in my team. I feel uncomfortable every day because my boss makes me sit for a longer period of time because he implied to say some things which I did not react to, and I'm feeling like this. Please reach out to the ICC. You do not it's not a desired space. It is your right to come and work in a place where you feel harassed free completely. Zero tolerance to harassment is the place that you are coming to. So you do not need to take that. And grievance redressal mechanism. In case there is a grievance that comes in, there is a proper investigation that happens, and whatever is considered is right by the committee, the action is taken. Workplace sexual harassment is behavior where impact matters, not the intent. A lot of people say, "Mera intent hi nahi tha. I did not mean to say something, but if it has impacted someone, it's sexual harassment." It is unwelcome in nature, sexual in nature, and often occurs in the matrix of power, which we've already spoken about. There are different forms of sexual harassment: visual, which is displaying or giving sexually suggestive pictures, magazines, sexual emails, screensavers; physical, sexual assault, touching or touching with a sexual intent, even touching without a sexual intent. If somebody is uncomfortable, it is sexual harassment, right? Requiring sex for job retention or advancement, pushing, shoving, or purposely bumping into a person, unwelcome touching, caressing, or fondling. These are all physical form of sexual harassment. And verbal is profanity, sexual remarks, comments, or threats, and passing rumors of sexual acts or involvement, off color, or vulgar jokes. Are we all there? Two forms of sexual harassment. Two kinds of sexual harassment that we earlier spoke about: quid pro quo and hostile work environment. And forms of sexual harassment are physical, visual, and verbal. What is personal space? What is your personal space? Anyone? We have paucity of time, so I'm going a little fast. Please feel free to stop me if you have any questions. I want to keep that time as much as been given to me. Personal space, what do you mean by that? Anyone? Do you know what is your personal space? Do we all know what is our personal space? Anyone? Absolutely. It could be physical. Yeah, so physical boundaries, respecting distance. I don't like to be touched. Right? Avoiding inappropriate gestures, coming and hugging somebody from behind, just tapping on their shoulder if somebody is not comfortable, they are not comfortable. It is a consent is most important. Don't take it for granted that person I hug from behind doesn't say anything. Why does she have a problem? It is none of your business. The consent is the most important thing in these kind of behaviors. Likewise, we have emotional boundaries, respecting confidentiality. People have their own feelings and emotions. They might have shared it with you. Going and telling it outside in that space and talking about that person is actually breaching it. Right? So, respecting that confidentiality is important. Communication, tone, and content. What kind of communication you are doing, what language you are using, you could be talking something about how people are carrying themselves, what outfit they are wearing, something about their body language, how they look. I might not be comfortable anyone talking about it. You are infringing into my personal space, right? And respecting cultural sensitivity. Every culture is different. Somebody from Mumbai, somebody from Delhi, we all know South India, North India, we have very different cultures. So some things are okay with some people, some things are not okay. So we have to be sensitive about that bit. And consent and communication is most important. Please understand, anything without the consent of the person is misutilizing your own way of misjudging your own way and making the other person uncomfortable. Our internal complaints committee, we have at least 4 members, 50% or more must be women. Presiding officer must be a senior woman employee. 2 employee members, 1 external member, lawyer, NGO, or someone working in the space of PoSH. The external member's role is to bring objectivity to the entire investigation, because they don't know who is who in the organization. So there could be biases of the internal complaints committee. So that is what the reason is. And quorum of internal complaint committee to convene is minimum 3 members. The steps that matter: filing a complaint 3 months of the last incident. It doesn't mean if somebody hasn't filed a complaint so far, today they are attending the session and they realize, I feel sexually harassed. Today's definition of sexual harassment has made me realize I am being harassed. That person can come 6 months after the last incident. We cannot say pehle kyun nahi bataya. We are not judging anyone for anything. You have the freedom to come even after 180 days of the last incident. Inquiry into the complaint must be completed within 90 days, submission of report within 10 days, and action based on the report must be 60 days. Generally, action based on report is done on the same day. Complaint process complainant has to give a written complaint with the details of the incident, etc. Complaint copy has to be provided to the respondent by the internal committee within 7 days. It's a very transparent process. As is, the complaint form goes to the respondent. Respondent is given 10 days to write their answers to it, along with if they have any witnesses. And can others file a complaint if you see someone harassing someone in your team? Can you file a complaint? Okay. The investigation can only start when there is a written complaint by the complainant. But if you see something like this happening, you can first convince your team member to go to the ICC. If that person says no, you can reach out to the ICC and say, please reach out to this employee. ICC will reach out to them, tell them about confidentiality, fairness, etc. But the person gets convinced, good, we investigate. If the person says no, nothing like this is happening, we cannot start the investigation. And principles of natural justice prevail. Action against the harasser has to be in line with whatever the ICC committee has decided. You cannot put it in the HR file saying, let's consider this as a misconduct. If it is sexual harassment, it has to go into the sexual harassment file. There is also times where an ICC can take a decision that respondent has to pay a certain amount of compensation because of the physical or mental health challenges that happen because of going through the kind of harassment that they did. Be with me, people. We are just about to finish, but it's important for all of us to understand this. Types of punishment: written apology, censure or reprimand, withholding of increment, withholding of promotion, community service counseling, termination of employment. Depending on how severe the case is, the penalization is in the similar proportion. Do we do something in case somebody files a wrong complaint, a false complaint? Can we take an action against that person? What if it is proved? If it is proved that yes, this person has given a false complaint, what kind of action can we take? What should we do if we realize somebody has misutilized the law and given a false complaint? Penalty. Similar penalty as was given to the people who have earlier, like written warning, written apology, termination of employment. I myself been involved in termination of false complainants. And this is considered as the complainant at the time of making the complaint knew it was false is considered as false. Lack of providing any adequate proof does not mean it's a false complaint. Generally, these things happen when people are not around, right? And there are no proofs and witnesses. And same penalty as that of offense of. Do we have the right to appeal? Yes, we do. If we are not okay with the decision of our ICC committee, we can go to the court. Generally, it is the High Court because the power of civil court is already with the ICC. So, ICC ka role is very, very important because tomorrow if High Court comes back to us, we need to be sure that we have taken the right decision based on the witness, proof, evidences and whatever came out of the investigation. ICC assures confidentiality, neutrality and fairness. Here the role of each one of you is very important. If any one of you is witness, complainant or respondent, you cannot go out during your chai session or gupshup session, talk about, this is what is happening. I went as a witness, she has complained about him. It has to be kept confidential because you are under oath to maintain that confidentiality. There are certain do's and don'ts to create a harassment-free workplace. That is what our pledge will be today. We are going to look at the do's and we are going to look at the don'ts because we want to create a harassment-free workplace. Your guide to a safe and inclusive workplace: take complaints, concerns of harassment seriously, promptly report or assist in filing complaint with the ICC. Remember, what is acceptable in one geography could be unacceptable in another geography, so be mindful of that. Encourage team members to take an active role in creating a harassment-free workplace. Extended definition of employee and workplace. Everybody is clear about that? Employee ki expanded definition and extended definition of workplace. That's very, very important. Ensure that your team members undergo training on PoSH. Declare immediately, very important, declare immediately any potential conflict of interest kind of a relationship. Team member and manager having a romantic or a personal relationship, We are not saying that it is a crime, but you have to report it to the HR because there's a conflict of interest and the roles need to be changed into different teams. That's about it. But if you don't report it and HR or other people come to know, then it's taken in a different direction altogether. Cooperate with the inquiry on investigation. Cannot say it's month end, people can't come. When it is to be done, it has to be done, and implement the findings of the complaints committee. Stop here the behaviors that don't belong to CARS 24. Usage of foul language at workplace. Please be very mindful that you might be using foul language thinking that abusive language is okay. But if that abusive language has sexual content, somebody can put a complaint saying humiliating work environment. Right? Because everybody is not comfortable with it. So be mindful and respectful to people. Use the language acceptable to you in the official premises. Use off-color jokes or make off-color statements even in a jest. I was just joking. Doesn't work. Create a hostile work environment. Permit team members to perform an act of harassment at work. We're laughing with them. If somebody is commenting on someone, you're also laughing with them. Retaliate against a complaint or witness. Attempt to resolve a harassment complaint. Not done. Lot of managers try to say, dono aapas mein resolve kar do in the evening, let's all talk and finish it off. You are not trained to do it, you are not supposed to do it. It has to be done by the ICC. Weigh performance against behavior. Even the top performer in the organization, we cannot take that into consideration. It's considered in isolation of whatever the history and background of the employee is. And ignore report rumors about harassment. This is our internal complaints committee. For CSPL, Pranati is the presiding officer, Satakshi and Kamal are members, and I am the external member. Our email ID is icc@cars24.com. Our internal complaints committee for CFSPL is Meera Aditya Shaw is the presiding officer, Amit Jain, Divyanshu Saxena and Shweta Soni are members, and I am the external member. And for CAPL, we have Shivangi Jain, who's the presiding officer, Ekta Kothari and Raksha are members, and I am the external member. So respect, safety, inclusion, it stays with us. Any questions, anyone? There is no right and wrong question. Sorry, I think I have extended it more than 30 minutes on a Monday evening. But this is an important session and I didn't want to cut it too short. Any questions, anyone? Any doubts? Yes, please. So typically right now there is an appeal that is gone. Earlier it was 3 months. This additional 3 months is also at the discretion of the ICC whether they want to take it or not. So as of now, clear is 3 months. Another 3 months is given on the discretionary basis. There is an appeal in the Supreme Court that we should extend it to 1 year. But right now, beyond 180 days, we will generally not take the case. Anybody else? Any questions? Is everybody clear about what Sexual Harassment Act entails at workplace? Is everybody very clear about it today? Koi sawal, koi shak? Okay, thank you for being a wonderful audience. Thank you very much, team. Wonderful having you over.